Today I'm going to show you how to add macro features to an average lens. Hello, my name is Cade and this is DSLRguide. So yeah, I got these the other day. These are macro tubes. Now these ones are not electrical, which I'll talk about later, but in short what you do is you choose which kind of type you want to add, and then what happens is you screw these together, and then this end will attach to your camera and this end will attach to the lens, so it essentially goes in between the camera and the lens, and it will change the focusing plane, which means that you can no longer focus to infinity, but you can focus to things that are really close. So it's a very simple idea, but it actually works works very well. I'm just going to talk about some of the features and drawbacks that come with this. So when I use these macro tubes with a 50mm lens, I only really have to use the 7mm one, the shortest one here, and you simply screw it like so, and then when you attach the lens to this part and this part to the camera, it essentially lets you focus to things that are literally touching the glass. So you can imagine just how close that is. So what you do is you attach it first and then you set the focus to infinity, and that will give you the furthest away option for the macro lens, if that makes sense. So essentially it will be, say instead of normally infinity is miles away, infinity will be about here, and then as you focus closer it can go even closer to the point where the subject is actually right up close to the lens. So essentially with a 50mm lens and just this one, you get as close as you'd ever want to get to something, as far as I'm concerned. And then the other ones are for telephoto lenses or other experimentations. So yeah, basically 50mm on a crop sensor, this is all you need, but you've got the extra for if you need to get even closer. So we're just going to talk about the build quality here. They are obviously, there's no glass in them and no electronics, so they're very simple in terms of how they work, but I will mention that the build quality is not that great. Your lens is resting on not only these two mounts here, but the rotational grip of these. So if, for instance, when I put my 70-200 on here, firstly this mount here is quite weak, so when you zoom it tends to lose this kind of locking feature here, which only works if you've got a light lens. So if you use a heavy lens, there's basically a risk of it falling off. So I'm not too happy about using my telephoto lens. You get plenty of wobble, but also when you zoom it can actually start to untwist these as well. So you have to kind of have it down quite tight, and then it becomes a bit of a pain. So the threads, it is all metal, but everything is just pretty low quality, but these are very cheap, so it kind of makes sense. Now you don't get any control electronically through most through lenses, so if you have a standard photo lens, you'll need to control the aperture by through the electronics, and also autofocus will work through electronics. So those two features are missing when you use these. So autofocus for video, we don't use it, so that's fine, but it does mean that you're stuck at wide open on that lens. So if your lens is a 2.8, then you'll be stuck at 2.8, which is better than being stuck at f8, but it does mean that you don't have any control over your depth of field. If you want to change the exposure, you're going to be using NDs and stuff like that. But the important thing is that it does work fine without electronics. The electronic ones tend to get a lot more expensive, so you can actually get a very, you get the macro features in just using it like this. So yeah, that's pretty much it really. It's the sort of thing where you pay very little money and try it out and you go, okay, cool, that works. There's not much to it. So yeah, I mean, these ones in particular, I would recommend in that they work, but you may want to spend a little bit more, you know, possibly 20-30 quid, something like that, on ones that just have better build quality if you can find them. But essentially it gets the job done. You know, it's not something you're going to have on your lens all the time. It's kind of just you might use one shot per shoot or less, just of trying out some macro stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Very cheap, and they get the job done. So yeah, that's it for this week. I'll see you next time.